Hello everyone, Link here, back with the Blast TV Austin Major Pickems, Stage 3. I think I can speak for pretty much everyone when I say that Stage 2 is a complete shit show. I mean, I knew it was going to be a bit of a shit show with my Pickems because I was kind of all over the place, especially with my 0-3s and one of the last two teams to pick. But Lin Vision, Nejima, or Namiga, and Legacy 3-0. They beat Faze Clan 2-0. You can't even be like, oh, it's the major, it's the stupid best of ones. They 2-0'd Faze Clan. Lin Vision beat freaking Falcons. What is happening? I think I can speak for pretty much everyone when I say that the stage 3-0-3s, no one's confident in them. Because even the teams that you would think would be slam dunks for 0-3, like Lin Vision, Namiga, or Legacy, there's a strong chance one of them or all of them could win a match. Like, I mean, if we saw OG and BetBoom go 0-3 and we saw Legacy and VP 3-0, anything can happen. Especially because I looked at the match history just because I wanted to refresh my memory. Legacy did manage to get 2 rounds away from beating Vitality on Dust 2, which would have been astonishing. So, to be honest with you, I'm actually impressed that I managed to get 2 of these correct. I actually mentioned it would have been funny if like Faze Clan won and then 3D Max lost, so the only pick'em I would have gotten correct is Furia, which is the team that basically always screws everyone's pick'ems. That would have been really funny for me. But yeah, I mean, Nico Daz had like one of the best performances he ever has, then his team goes 0-3. I mean, this major is just all over the place, man. I think I can speak for everyone when I say that. Not sure why those were there. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few teams I think could make it, especially if you. I mean, I've seen a couple people. I think I see only one person put Legacy. That was a weird sound. Putting Legacy going through, and honestly, I have seen a couple brackets of which they do go through because there's a lot of matchups they face other American teams like Liquid, like Furia, like Pain, and then they could face like Nejima or Lin Vision. I think they could win either of those, especially if they face Lin Vision in a best of 3 instead of a best of 1. But we'll start with the one pick'em I think pretty much everyone's going to do, although I will say, don't sleep on this because of what I just mentioned. Vitality, 3-0. Everyone's going to be doing this because they're just the most dominant team. I mean, they don't quite have an era yet because it's not even been a half a year since they've started dominating tournaments. It started in Katowice, but they've dominated every tournament they've attended so far. But, like I said, Legacy managed to get a 13-11 against Vitality on Dust 2, which in my opinion is one of, if not Vitality's best map. So, that is I mean, to be honest, Vitality versus Legacy, that match right there is basically like the, movie match. That's like the big bad, top dogs against the underdogs that everyone bullied and no one thought they would get this far. Like, that is truly, like, something people would make a movie out of, especially if Legacy ended up having the the special run, the storybook run, I guess you could say. There's another term I just can't think of right now. And they ended up actually beating Vitality, but I still don't think it's going to happen. And to be blunt, because of how dominant Vitality's been, you put them up against any team here, and they're favorites right now. Like, I do think that, they're more likely to lose in the group stage than the playoffs, I will say, even though their record in the playoffs recently hasn't been that bad. To be honest, the way I kind of view it is Vitality's either going to lose either a game in the group stage, or they're going to lose in the quarters. If they make it to the finals, they are winning guaranteed. The big question is, can they get there? Because they failed the last few times. Then the other 3-0, I'm very torn personally. I'm between 3 teams. Mouse, Spirit, and Mongols. There's pros and cons to each of these. Spirit is, I think, the team that is probably the most dominant against some of these other teams. I think Mongols is more likely to lose a map than Spirit, and Mouse has a worse round 1 where they're going up against VP, who went 3-0 last time around. And VP, honestly, I could see them going anywhere from 3-1 to 1-3. So, I think because VP could lose that first round, I think it would be difficult to put Mouse going 3-0, but I don't hate it. To be honest, if I was going to put Mao's 3-0, it's because of the fact that there's quite a few scenarios of which they face Spirit in the 2-0. And even though Spirit, I think, is overall the better team compared to Mao's, when it comes to them facing each other, with the exception of the last major in the playoffs, Mao's always beat Spirit. Spirit beating Mao's in the playoffs last major was the only time that Spirit has beaten Mao's in recent history. So if Mao's do beat Spirit, or do go up against Spirit, it will be a best of 3, to be fair. But it's going to be interesting. Mongols, I think, they could lose round 1 to Furia, but I still think they're pretty favored. And I do think they're favored in most of the 1-0 matches. I think they're going to get better matches in the 1-0 than Spirit and Mao's are, from what I can tell. At least more often than not. So, in terms of a team you're confident is going to go 2-0, I would put Mongols there. And I also want to point out Spirit, Mao's, and Mongols are likely not going to face Vitality, which is kind of good, is kind of bad, depending on how you look at it. I think it's honestly kind of a good thing, from what I can tell, because, again, as I mentioned, I think no one's really confident with their 0-3s. If you were confident with at least one 0-3, you would want your 2 3-0s to face each other. That way you can at least get 2 correct here. Your Pickems aren't screwed entirely here. But, for me personally, I think I'm going to go Spirit. Mongols, if they face Spirit or Mao's, I think they lose both of those matchups. So even though I do think they could easily get to the 2-0, I don't see them winning the 2-0. And actually, if all 3 of those teams, if Vitality, Mao's, Spirit, and Mongols go into the 2-0 match, Vitality will face Mongols. So that, you could make it so you want to do that, or you don't want to do that. For me, like I said, I think Spirit is probably going to win against most of these teams in the group stage, except for maybe Mao's. And I also want to point out, I think they have the easiest round 1. They're going up against Pain, Mongols going up against Furia, Mao's is going up against VP. I think Mao's has the worst round 1, and it's kind of debatable with, is Mongols versus Furia more even than Spirit versus Pain? Pain's definitely been a surprise, so I could see the argument of saying that, Pain beating Spirit is more likely than Furia beating Mongols, but I just think Spirit's still just a slightly skill-wise better than Mongols. I think they'll beat them, and I also think that because of that, I think Pain and Furia are kind of still close. Even if you think Pain's better, Spirit I still think is better than Mongols. So even though it's risky because they could face Mao's in the 2-0, they did manage to beat them in the playoffs at the last major. So maybe the major is where Spirit beat Mao's. So that's going to be my Pickems, Vitality, Spirit for the 3-0s. Then the 0-3s. I only really have one confident team here, to be honest with you. Because pretty much every single 0-1 match I've seen and 0-2 match, they're not going to be favored. I will say, this is one of the 3 teams we saw get a big upset, and that's Nejima, or Namiga. I'm going to keep calling them Nejima, because I just like how it rolls off the tongue. When you look at these 3 teams, right, Legacy, Nejima, and Lin Vision, Nejima had a win against Heroic, Lin Vision beat Falcons, and Legacy 2-0'd Faze. Out of those 3 upset wins, I think Nejima's was the least sort of surprising, especially since it was very close at the end. And like I said, there's not really any scenario of which Nejima faces Lin Vision or Legacy, where there are quite a few situations where Legacy and Lin Vision face each other, unfortunately, which can mess up your Pickems if you're going to go for one of those 2. And I just don't think they have any favorables. To be honest, I think their first match against Navi might end up being one of their more favorable matches. As strange as that is to say. Second one, this is still risky, especially because of the first match they're going to be going up against Liquid. I'm putting Lin Vision. I think if they do run into Legacy, I think Legacy going 3-0, I do think Legacy can get the revenge on Lin Vision, even though they did beat them in the first stage. The other factor is that there's not much of a chance, but if they do face them in a best of 3, I think Legacy is going to be better than Lin Vision in a best of 3. And you can do this bracket quite a few ways, and if Mao's lose to VP, Mao's likely goes up against Lin Vision. If G2 beats 3D Max, Aurora faces Lin Vision. Even G2 could face Lin Vision. I still think that's favorable for G2. But not entirely. I mean, they did lose to Mongols last time around, but Mongols was a great team back then. And G2, I mean, I've seen some people putting them 0-3. Yes, Hades is a lot worse than Monacy, but do I think G2 is going to go 0-3? No. I don't, to be honest, I don't really think they're going to make it, but 0-3 I think is a stretch, especially because their first match is against 3D Max, which, to be honest, both teams are kind of similar. They don't have any, like, superstar players. Well, actually, G2 does kind of still, you know, at least name recognition wise, but like neither team has like the top of the top, but neither team has like really bad players either. So I think putting G2 0-3 when they could win the first round against 3D Max is risky too. So I still think that, again, I think I can speak for everyone when I say that I don't think anyone's confident in anyone's 0-3s given the upsets we've seen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see people do something like this, because Liquid and Furia are known for choking. But I'm going to go for this. I mean, I'm not getting the Diamond Coin either way, so I'm just going to play the matchups, basically. And I think these two teams, for the most part, unless Lin Vision faces Legacy, are going to have the worst matchups. Then moving on to the teams that are going to qualify normally. I said it before, the teams I'm most confident with 3-0 are Spirit, Maos, and Mongols, so I'm just immediately throwing those teams in there. I'm also going to throw Aurora in there. Aurora, or previously Eternal Fire, I don't think that they beat the teams above them, especially Mongols. Unfortunately, as much as I love both teams, Mongols and Aurora are probably my two favorite teams right now. Maybe Faze Clan if Simple Test steps it up and has some good consistency with the team, which we've yet to see really with Stage 2, considering they nearly didn't make it. But unfortunately, Aurora against Mongols, they always lose that matchup, which is another reason why I would be tempted to put Mongols in the 3-0, or at least in the... I expect them to go in the 2-0 match, because the only bad matchup they have, or like close match they're going to have, is against Aurora, and they just always beat them. But outside of, you know, Mongols and probably these two teams here, and yeah, basically outside of these four teams, I think Aurora has a favorable matchup against all these teams. Now, for these three spots, call me crazy, I'm not going to put Pain, I'm not going to put 3D Max, and I'm not going to put Legacy. I'm also not going to put G2. For me, this is between four teams. I can understand putting Furia in, I can understand putting Legacy in, or even 3D Max. Pain's a bit more of a question mark, but honestly, they had a pretty dominant time last time around, so I understand all these pick'ems, to be honest. But for me, it's going to be between 3 of 4 teams, which is Navi, Liquid, Faze, VP. I still am not sure, to be honest. I feel like Faze and Liquid are the two teams that, like, I look at them very similarly to, like, Cloud9 and Fnatic at Copenhagen, where... Was it... Actually, no, that was Shanghai, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Shanghai. Where I think these teams could go, like, 3-1, or they could go, like, 1-3. So, for that reason, I kind of want to go Navi, VP. But, again, VP is going to be a difficult one, because they're still a big question mark for me. They could be very dominant, they could struggle. There's also a chance they could go up against each other. The thing is, I also want to root on these two teams, and that's another reason I want to put them going through. So I kind of want to do one of these two things. I'm very much debating which. And if I don't do this, I could do like this. Or this. The thing is, I do think Faze can choke. I do think Faze can choke. Just as much as I think Liquid can choke. We did see Navi choke last time around. So this is very, very difficult for me. Because it's difficult, I want to usually go with the teams I want to root on. So it's going to be somewhere between this. Yeah, they did get Shu in, right? Yeah, and Liquid got Shuei, so I do think Liquid's just getting like slight upgrades here and there. So I do think Liquid probably makes it. I think Liquid has less choke potential than Faze. So if I was gonna pick VP and Navi, it would probably take out Faze. I kind of want to do this. My gut is telling me to do this, but in terms of who I want to root on and how I want things to go, I want to do this. No point throwing one of my 3-0s, because if I wanted to throw one of my 3-0s, I could do like Faze Clan up there. Because I mean, they're not a team I think would go 3-0, but I mean, I guess in a weird world, they could. I mean, what match are they facing first? Aurora. Eesh. Navi's first match is against Namiga. VP is against Mouse. So yeah, I definitely put Liquid through. I think I put Navi through. So I feel like I'm gonna do this. I did this before where I didn't trust VP and they ended up going 3-0. VP could screw my Pickems twice, but to be honest, they didn't screw my Pickems single-handedly last time anyways. So I'm going to go with what I want, a bit more what I want to happen. Because again, I think VP could be, or could take the spot of Liquid or Faze, but I don't know which. And I want to lean on Faze not making it and VP going through. But I'm going to follow my heart, and I'm going to go with this. Vitality, Spirit, 3-0. Lin Vision, Nejima, or Namiga, 0-3. Then 3-1, we've got Maus, Mongols, Aurora, 3-2, Liquid, Faze, Navi. And that will be my Pickems. As I made it very clear there, I really don't know where I stand on VP, on Virtus Pro, man. I think they could very well make it. If I could have an extra pick'em, I would definitely put VP, without a doubt. But hopefully it goes to Faze or Liquid, which is what I'm hoping for, even though I do think VP has looked overall more solid. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the playoffs.